this year, Chief Executive of AI research and deployment company OpenAI expressed concerns about the impact of artificial intelligence on older workers. Sam Altman says he was worried that while young people are the best at adapting to AI, what would it mean for, say, the 62-year-old that doesn't want to go, doesn't want to retrain or reskill? He's assuming that they don't. Contrary to Altman's concerns, older workers in New Zealand are increasingly embracing artificial intelligence to enhance their productivity, to adapt to the changing work environments that we're all going through. Not only that, but age can be a benefit as AI handles basic functions, whereas, say, an older person could identify anomalies in an AI's report, which younger individuals may overlook. Educational initiatives are supporting this transition. Academy EX is an adult education provider. The founder is Frances Valintine, and she joins me now. Frances, good afternoon.
Kia ora, great to be here.
Oh, wonderful to talk to you. And I find this really fascinating. 44% of your recent enrollees are aged over 50 years old. So what does that tell you?
Well, actually, the average age on the program is 50, and then those over 50, still make a big component of it. What it really shows us is the shift of AI being the topic of the tech team or the social media or marketing team, and actually the decision makers now, senior executives, decision makers, business owners are now stepping up and saying, it's time for me to get involved.
Yeah. So do you think then there's a stereotype maybe for people of a certain age struggling with tech?
Look, I think digital technologies for everyone is challenging because it is something that the older you are, the more you've had to transition away from other systems to digital. The difference with AI versus, say, the websites that came out 30 years ago with the internet is we've had a very, very short amount of time when the AI has really over-delivered and doing more in a single month and advancing faster than any previous technology. So we don't have the luxury this time round of saying, I'll get to it next year or in a couple of years when others, maybe at a time when they feel more confident about embracing AI. It's happening so quickly that we're actually having to jump on and get kind of fairly proficient early on if we want our companies to thrive.
So Frances, I've got to ask you, when you come to Academy EX, what are you teaching them? What are you offering?
So we've been around for the last 12 years, and we are a graduate school. So we most of our programs are actually postgraduate, like master's degrees for working professionals. So people coming in and doing programs like the Master of Technological Futures, thinking about the technologies changing the workforce. But the data we were talking about was previously, I'm personally running at the moment a disruptive technology micro-credential in artificial intelligence. And there's 190 professionals who are all leaders in their field who are participating on this part-time online course with me. And the reason it's been such an interesting insight for me is that there's a group now that is stepping in and saying, if I'm going to be making great decisions which are going to affect my business in the next year to 5 years, if I don't understand AI, will I miss insights that are going to really dramatically change the way my business will operate, either negatively or positively? So they're wanting to be at the front and actually having those conversations that they can carry back into their teams, or maybe even to their boards if they're a bigger company, making sure that nobody is sort of going in with their eyes closed about a world that's changing.
No, that's really good, because I started in broadcasting, back in the day of records. You and I know what a record is, but and as I explained to the kids, but then we're all it's all technological now, and it's all screens and a mouse. But AI, I use AI for my show, in things that I can make and play back. Also to help me do research, because we're a very small team, and I've got a great producer, but, there's just two of us. So I use it regularly to help me find other things while I'm writing something else. And I must admit, Frances, I was a little bit hesitant at first, because I didn't take a course, but luckily my husband this is kind of like he's really his field. So he showed me, and I'm probably still very, very basic to what I could do with it. but at the moment it works for me for what I do. But I think it's really, I'm just thinking how important it is if I had a business. And you're right, if I wanted to stay ahead and learn more about it, I think this is a great idea. Hey, I mentioned that I mentioned too in my intro that older people could have an edge because experience helps them spot things that AI might miss. Um, and I know you've said that too. Can you share a real life example of maybe how that works?
Look, I think whether you're a doctor using AI for diagnostics, or you're, somebody who is writing a report, for example, on, I don't know, climate change, that if you're reading it through the experience of someone who's already a subject matter expert, if an
Yeah.
AI is writing a report, of course you're going to look at it, and anything that looks like they might be claiming percentages or adoption rates or behaviors, and you're looking going, that just doesn't feel quite right to me. And so
Mm.
that critical mind and that view of being able to go, let me just double check that.
Yes.
What we're seeing is even within our own institute, the younger students, and there's not that many of them who are younger, when younger in my world is like 30 as opposed to 50, they'll
Yeah.
often just have this idea of trust the AI implicitly. And I don't think
Yes.
that's true as you get older. But I do say there's really another anomaly, which is the older people are, the more they think it's cheating. That they've got this,
Oh,
you earn your
interesting.
stripe, that AI feels like a cheat's way to do things. And so I hear it a lot when they sort of say, oh, but I feel like if I do that, I'm sort of shortcutting and cheating the system. What I definitely understand is younger, if you're 30, you're going, this is a gift. This is like a tool
Yeah.
given to me that's actually
Yes.
enhancing my day. It's making me be more productive, and it's sort of taking away some of my pain points. So we do have this sort of shift between generations, I think, depending on how we view it. A little bit like the calculator argument we had back in the day at school about, was a calculator cheating in a maths exam? We're kind of
Yep.
having that all over again. But
Yeah.
actually, we are now the group that are saying, oh, but maybe it's cheating. It's certainly not
No, it's
by all
certainly
accounts.
not. And that's
Yeah.
great actually because you prefer. I mean, I was about to ask you, do you notice the differences in how older 30, or younger, sorry, to older, how they use AI, and you've just explained it, that they see it as a tool and it's expected and they use it, whereas yeah, the older person might go, should I be really doing this? Because shouldn't I be putting the work in? Why am I?
Yeah, so we've
Yeah,
got to get beyond that. And actually,
yeah,
the youngest group, the under 24s in this country, are the biggest users of AI. So they are really embracing it, and it's just kind of just another evolution of a technology for them. I think
yeah,
we do as a group. I think if you're particularly over 50, and I'm in the same group, I'm just like every day I can take learn a little bit more, spend a
yeah.
bit more time playing, exploring, being curious around AI, the more it's going to bolster my productivity, because I'm actually going to feel really confident whenever it comes to
Mm,
whatever job I'm doing, that I could find the right tool to help me, and actually not just look at the productivity aspect of it, but actually there's some really big pain points in a lot of the admin we do that is
mm,
actually not my favorite part of the day, and sure not part
yeah,
of, your favorite as well. And so if you
yeah.
can get AI to do that stuff to free up the time, the things that I really enjoy doing,
Mm.
it's a pretty good win.
Is there any common mistakes or anything that most people when they start using or working with AI, um, that they make? Do you see anything when people first?
Yeah, there's a really big one. So when you ask an AI to do something for you, you normally type in a prompt, and the prompt
Yes,
is like what you want it to do. Now I'm
yes,
talking about what I'm trying to keep this what are called generative AI, which like OpenAI or ChatGPT. And so
yep,
generative AI is generating something out of nothing. So a
mm,
poem, some music, some code, a report,
yep,
whatever it might be.
yep,
Most people put very little information into that prompt. So they put two sentences and expect a work of art to come out.
yeah,
That prompt can be hundreds of words. It can be paragraphs. It can be
mm,
screeds of information. It can be 10 reports dumped into it and asking it to, distill 10 different reports and find a
mm,
commonality. The
mm,
more you put into that prompt, the better your response will be. And if you don't know
yeah,
what to ask the AI to say, what questions do you need me to answer to do this job well? And it will tell you the things it needs to do the job well. So treat it
gosh,
like an intern. If the intern was
yes,
standing looking
yeah,
at
an
you saying,
assistant.
what do I
Mm,
do next? Treat it like
wow,
that, so that, what would you ask the intern? Say, well, tell me what you need to know to do this job.
mm,
And so the prompt is the magic. And I think that most people shortcut the prompt system and they don't put enough information in, and therefore when they get something back out, it's very generic, and you can tell an AI has written it, or you can
Yeah.
tell it's been
Yes.
heavily kind of put through some kind of a process that doesn't feel natural, or the tone of voice that you might have in a normal communication, for example.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of talk about, and there has been for some time, about artificial intelligence actually taking people's jobs. But do you think it could actually help? Because we're talking about older workers, this is what this conversation's about. Help them actually stay in the workforce longer.